Toda la conversación está en español, ¿sí?
Oh.
I know. I don't know how I did that. Like, I'm very impressed with myself.
Your drink has
My
some
mom.
tequila in it.
Mi español es muy feo.
Yo tengo un bolsa con queso.
You have a ball sack with cheese?
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Bolsa. It's like purse. Jesus.
Oh,
That's amazing.
Is this how we're gonna start this?
Almost got you there.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost got a spit ticket, a free dinner.
it's true.
I'm already offering you food. You won't even take it. Jeez.
He wants to earn it.
Take it home.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you eat it here.
Here's
You
your
don't eat
free
it at all.
dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I know you're not going to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how you been, Chris?
I've been good. You know, just been looking into things, really evaluating the current political climate of things out there right now.
Sure.
You know, it's never really been something I've had to think about in my daily life, but now I find myself really looking at other people who are going through a lot of different things and just putting myself in their shoes for those moments and going like, man, you know, I get it.
Sure.
Get it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's
So,
tough.
It is, especially since I've never been a political person.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't something that my family growing up, they really exercise anything like that.
Yeah.
Not to say that they wouldn't. It's just those weren't conversations we had.
No,
So-
absolutely. Like, you know, I like you, like for the longest time, like I detested political stuff. Like I just stayed out of it because it was one, it bored me, but two, it's just like, you people are dumb. Like, you know, it just people can't just get along. And I'm just like, come on. And so I feel for you. You know?
Yeah, you know, you sit and you ask yourself, man, I can't believe there are people out there that have gone to the extremes of cutting families off and things like that. And you're like, wow, that is some serious stuff. But I
Yeah.
get it. When you look into, you know, what people are standing for and you're just like, that's okay, cool. You know, and it is interesting that that's like a dynamic that can break people.
Yeah.
You know,
And I've done some life coaching before, and I'm like, well, some of y'all needed to get rid of your families sooner.
No, I agree. You know?
Boundaries are
if that's the thing that does it for those specific people.
Right,
You know?
right. And it is important to maintain boundaries and set boundaries, I guess, first and then maintain them. And when it's family, that's so much more difficult to do because
Yeah.
they raise you, you feel some sort of like obligation to them sometimes. And at the same time, you know, as adults, obligations get a little gray, I think, as we form our own families and our own identities. And
Yeah.
so it is very complicated. It is very hard. And especially if you've never faced, whether you or somebody else, you've never faced this sort of complication in your life, how do you maintain resiliency through that? You have to sort of relearn new things or take old things that you've learned before and sort of adapt them. And that's challenging too.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to
Yeah.
find your common ground that's outside of just being related by DNA.
Right.
Sure.
And I think that's when a lot of people, you know, they tend to just give up
Yeah.
on that, you know,
Yeah.
because a lot of feelings get pushed out first. And so that moment where you're like, well, hey man, you know, you've raised me, and you're like, it doesn't matter. You like this or you don't like this, and we're done. And it's like, wow, you know, so
Yeah.
it's been interesting just to kind of look at it from an outside perspective going in.
Yeah.
But
There'll be a lot more Friendsgivings this year.
you know, it's wasn't until 2019 that I've even heard that was a thing.
Yeah. I used to do it all the time.
Never
Yeah.
heard from it
So
whatsoever.
then you lost all your friends?
No, like,
And the
then
skeleton
there was
born.
COVID, and then now I don't have a working oven, and you know.
You don't have a working oven?
No,
COVID destroyed your oven.
No, actually, my oven just disagreed with me on politics.
I did. You had to take it out. Yeah.
It just won't do what I want it to.
Yeah.
No, I moved into my mom's house because she's in assisted living now.
Oh,
and
sure.
she was like, "Oh, the oven will work. You just got to do this." And I press the button and it's not turning on. I'm like,
Jeez.
okay, so the oven doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay.
And the stove works fine, and I can get by.
So yeah, because how many times do you bake? You know?
Do you have a toaster oven?
I do not, and they're evil.
Well,
I have a toaster.
Easy bake oven?
I'll make grilled cheese type, modified grilled cheese. Ask around, they're good. But
Government cheese.
But I'll use I'll flip stuff on the griddle or whatever.
Okay.
But
nice.
There you go.
It's fancy.
But I can't bake birthday cakes. I can't do like turkey for Thanksgiving or any other time.
So you've
or
got an
pies.
out. Yeah, you've got an out.
Yeah. You never had to
Yeah.
host
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Thanksgiving or
I use-
Friendsgiving. Yeah.
I
Making
sort
a
of have an
version.
in too. People are like, you can use my oven. Yeah. I'll use all the ovens and pay no power cost.
Hey, Chris, I need you to give me your best Optimus Prime, please.
Yeah, so I know I was going to have to be given that sort of
Yes.
thing, so I can give it to you later.
Okay.
Just because there's a segment that I think would suit for
Fair
it
enough.
as well.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
I'll let Optimus come when he wants.
Yep, yep,
prepared,
no
yeah.
problem.
All right.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
meanwhile, we're over here forming the Bards and Balladeers party.
yeah.
You'll see us on the ballots next time. Or
Oh,
no?
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Are we the Green Party? Is that what? No, we said we
I'm the
again.
orange party,
Yeah, well,
red party. No.
Green Party,
Yeah.
the Green
Aw,
Ranger. This is I got the Dragon Zord,
Oh.
which he doesn't know anything about Power Rangers.
Nope.
And but
I do not. I
Yeah.
know that
They
there's
have a
like 5 of them. I know a
rock
guy
and
who
theme song.
worked on that property, like on the IP.
Yeah.
Who also did a Red Riding Hood piece called Red Riding. It's like books of his. And Neo, hey Neo,
Hi, Neo.
he's probably not watching right now.
Hello.
He will be one day.
one
and then
day
he'll thank me.
everybody be watching us.
You know, those guys are in Fortnite now.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah, they are. I saw that
you
trailer
can-
was killer though. Did
Yes,
you see
was.
it?
Yes,
Oh
was.
man,
I've had the pleasure of meeting Walter, who's the original Black Ranger. He
no
does have
way.
missing fingers. People no, or
From
may
what?
not. No, it was just a sort of an accident.
Oh, okay.
So
A Power Rangers accent? Does his
no,
Megazord fall on his hand?
no,
What?
no, just real life stuff.
Sure.
I believe, if I'm not
Power
mistaken.
Rangers is real
Please
life.
correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I did meet the gentleman back at Nerding Out in 2022
Nice.
or 21, but I had just started getting into that, and I knew he was going to be there, and he's just kind of one of those people that I grew up being like, oh yeah, cool, the Black Ranger,
Yeah,
that's cool. I did personally like the White Ranger more, just because I
Sure.
liked Tommy.
Yep.
I liked his
Rest in
personality.
peace.
Yeah. Yep. Frank. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he was there. Had a chance to meet him. Gave him a drawing of the Black Ranger that I did. He signed
Oh,
it.
that's
for
right.
me.
And you got the message on the back of it. Yes.
Yep.
Very fun. And if you haven't, I guess good segue.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
sure.
Chris Kassoon, our artist friend here.
Hello.
And you start doing our introduction, so I'll let you finish
Yeah,
that
we're
one.
Bards and Balladeers. I'm Oscar. This is Kate and Mario or Rio. Sorry.
It's okay. Either one.
Won't
I
hurt
know.
me again.
Let's do it again. Well, I'll cut it. I'll edit it in post.
Yeah. No, you won't. I'm not doing it again.
If
You're
you
just
don't do
gonna
it,
have
I'm
to
gonna
live with
make you look bad.
You always make me look bad.
No, that was genetics. Oh,
Yeah. Got
I'm sorry.
He said that, Mom. I'll tell you. Sorry, Mom. He just insulted you.
No, I love you, Mom
And Dad.
and Dad. My dad's dead, so I guess yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you
That's so
need
funny.
to address?
No,
Oh, yeah.
no, that happened like
It's
30
like
years ago.
my
Yeah,
brain
no,
goes
that's-
for the dark joke. I'm like, no, I'm cutting that.
Yeah.
Now I
We're
really
all
want
holding
to
back
hear
jokes.
it.
Yeah.
But thank you, Chris, for hopping on and doing
Oh,
this with
it's,
us. We're just trying to get the word out and just try to get more creatives on the podcast and just talk, because we talk about narrative in all forms. So as an artist, we really wanted to hear your perspectives on it, and we'll get deep into that and how, just from a single image, you can tell so much. So, but let's talk about you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your name, and what you do.
Oh, sure. So, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
greatly do appreciate it. It's been
Hey, no
enjoyable to catch your shorts on Instagram, as I
Sure.
heard. So it is truly like an honor to be here and just to be asked these questions, So I am just born and raised in Minnesota. Truly that boring.
No,
just
never.
the Children's Hospital right down there,
Sure.
just, in downtown St. Paul. But my sort of life took an interesting turn when I was 5, and my parents wanted me to come to the Caribbean to meet my family there and live there, just because my mom was given her house from my grandparents when they moved here. So they were settled here, and my mom wanted to be with my dad, who his family was there and such. So moved back there, and that's kind of where my sort of quest for learning to draw came into being. So a place called Trinidad and Tobago,
Yeah, I know.
tiny little boot-shaped country right above Venezuela.
Yep.
Not Italy?
Right? No,
Oh, okay.
no, it's just
The small
Italy is the only one.
yeah, no, this one's like a cool. It's like a shorter boot, like a wedge. Like
okay.
wedges. Yeah.
The wedge shaped
The way- yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
no, Italy's next to the
Yeah.
Galapagos Islands.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Would be very awesome. But yeah, just given this this idea by my grandma. She was like, "Oh, you've been given a God-given talent. You should do something with it." And you're just this ignorant person that is like, "I believe exactly what you say. There's nobody better than me out there because God gave me this gift.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna stick with it and keep going forward." So, unfortunately, that's what I did. It was just one of those things that I found myself looking at little. If you remember the golden age storybooks, they have the little golden edge. I forgot exactly what they're called.
Still got some of them.
Yeah. Yep. So I used to just draw what I would see in there.
Sure.
Just like, oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, the Berenstein Bears. Is it Berenstein Bears? Mandela.
Was,
The Mandela effect, if that's the thing you guys know about.
Ever since Harvey Weinstein, it's all Stein.
Stein.
Yeah, Stein. Yeah. That's why I had the gold rim. No.
Yes. There it is. There it is.
So that was like how you started drawing in a way?
Yes. Yeah. Just looking at things and seeing if I could just draw it. Unfortunately, I wasn't maintaining any information that I knew of, because if you take it away, I wouldn't be able to draw it again. Like I couldn't maintain the image in my head. And I'm always I'm very like just in awe of people who have that photographic memory, that they can really remember something just from looking at an image, or even when it comes to music and poetry and this one over here.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame though, I feel like. Because I mean, obviously you've grown since then, I feel like, in different ways, but right now as an artist too, I can't draw something that I'm thinking of in my head. Like I have to be looking at the thing, and it does look pretty decent, but take that away.
Mhm.
Like it is a completely different, almost like skill level. Would you say it's skill or talent?
I would say it's both. It really is both, because when it comes to talent, that's something that people say, "Hey, I'm born." You're kind of born with talent.
Sure.
You can learn talent to some degree, but skills are something that you eventually do kind of learn, because you go to a job, somebody teaches you how to do something, it's a little bit easier. That you're taking your stat points out of strength and putting it into charisma or dex.
Yeah.
For all the gamers out there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how it is for me currently. I've just been taking stats out of different things and moving it into new areas. So
we were just talking about the 18 strength, 8 charisma, or 8 intelligence himbo. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, man.
18 charisma.
18 charisma. Thank you.
And 8 intelligence.
Yeah. It's the himbo. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, they're out there. They're absolutely out there.
Yeah.
So
a week ago.
Last week we were just talking about that.
Yeah. But so from there, I just kept doing it because I would get little comic books that would come into the island. They were almost like a year behind the States when it came to getting things, but it was comics, seeing things in the theater and whatnot. So it was always a bit behind.
My understanding is it's still kind of like that, 6 months behind or something.
Kind of, yeah. It's gotten a lot better now in terms of people are much more faster to bootleg things and whatnot because of the internet.
Yeah.
It just makes it a lot easier. But a lot changed actually when I forgot the company, but a company came in, a cable company first came in, and they said, "Hey, we're bringing cable to the States." And we were one of the first people on the block to have cable.
Wow.
And it was cool because I was given like one of the very first like Captain America t-shirts, and I rocked that thing like everywhere I went. But yeah, so it was just kind of one of those things that you just keep kind of growing with and finding out like, oh, this is kind of cool. I wonder if I could draw like that. And that's when the sort of the idea of drawing comics, the comic book style came into play. It was just being inspired by a lot of those folks.
So as like any artist will tell you, like I hate my stuff until a certain point. So when did you find yourself like really loving what you did, or did you always love what you did regardless of what you drew and stuff of that?
I would say it wasn't until actually more my adult, super older times. Like I would say now more so than ever, I truly love what I do because I don't care anymore.
Sure.
And I'll elaborate on that. Growing up, you're competing with all your peers around you. And then you find out that there's the internet and you're not competing with just your peers. It's now the entire world.
Sure.
And so you've got to, in my mind, I'm like, man, there's like a greater weight on my shoulders now that I have to kind of really perform and showcase. So the theft of joy is what was happening to me at that time. Because I was,
being humbled at the same time as trying to find your joy in it.
Yeah. Because I was comparing myself to so many other people out there. Because I'm like, man, why is that person so good? You know, why are they better? Oh, they won't tell you I've got to like buy a book, a $40 book to learn how to do what they
And
do.
then you'll be that good.
And then I'll be that
you'll
good.
be- yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm curious to know, like, when did you, I'm going to use the phrase like your voice in your drawing. Like, about when did you find that? I guess kind of like you just said, when you started like, discovering more comic book characters.
Yeah.
But do you find that you discovered it more in recent years? Because like as you've grown as an artist, or
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's something that right now I find myself. That's kind of a very normal question that I get, especially at conventions.
Sure.
People are always like, "So have you always done this? You know, how did you get to this point?" And so for me, yes, I would say that right now I've sort of found what makes my stuff what it is.
Sure.
Especially because with this year, with what I'm putting out, it's very much now that I'm very confident in what I do, that's kind of like where I'm at right now. In what you see in all my current things that I do, that's basically truly who I am.
Sure.
So at this point, if I can't get you to like what I do, then I mean, it's just kind of over in that regard, you know? And that's okay. That's what's great about art is that there's something for everyone out there, you know, and I've never let that sort of stop what I do, you know, but it was sort of on a night where someone sent me these pens from Japan. And she said, "Hey, I would love to see what you can do with these pens." And being the cheap person that I am, I'm like, well, I'm not going to use my printer paper for this stuff. I'm going to use grocery bags because this is just living here.
This is a great story, though.
So I just started working away on them, and the feedback as the pen began to ripple over the grocery bag, you can really feel it stimulating in the fingers, especially as you're doing these lines. I found that I had more control that way, despite having to go over them a few more times. The bag was almost like helping me in a way where it's because it wasn't smooth like paper where it glides over once and you're like, oh man, there's a slight arc in the straight line that I did. The grocery bag was like, no, bro, you just go over again, grow over again.
Talk back to you.
And so that sort of feedback was in another way training me to be able to do these really nice accentuated strokes and the sort of style that I do with the overlaying of each sort of hatching that goes on. So especially when you see it in the bigger pieces and whatnot.
I do always sort of wonder with any kind of creative, like how much they notice the difference with different tools. Like you're a musician, use different instruments. If you use like a better instrument, I imagine you're like, oh, this is so much better, or this is worse in these different ways. You've done a lot of video stuff, like this is better camera, better microphone. I mostly do writing, but like even just something like a really basic example, I've done a lot of outdoor shows lately. And sometimes, you know, I'd be trying to fold something up by myself in the wind. And I'm like, why not use the wind as a helper?
Right.
That's right.
And so, you know, like it's blowing that way. All right. Like it's going to hold it that way while I fold. And so it's basically taking one end and it's not in the most predictable way, but it's better than like it's there. I may as well use it instead of just fighting it, you know?
Work with the medium.
Right.
Don't fight it.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I learned that when I was moving furniture for a while. I dedicated 4 years of my life to a cancer place called Hope Chest for breast cancer. And so we were moving things, and that's what the good person I was working with, he said, I know you're strong, but just let gravity do it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, just let it come down, do your thing. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And it just, another one of those things that just sort of clicks. And you're like, why haven't I been doing this before? Why have I been struggling with this? And that's kind of how it was with some of these tools. Those pens in particular from Japan, they were just silky smooth, especially the brush versions that they gave you. There was sort of the nibs, and then they have the brush version, and they had a fine and a medium. And yeah, so you could sort of just go from thick to thin without having to swap over to another, pen size that they have. And I'm like, man, this is just really convenient, really nice, So to answer your question, yes, there is you definitely notice a difference in being able to do that. And
once you've gone to the newer, better tools, you're like, I'm not going back.
But you almost got to earn those tools. Like sometimes, like, like sometimes I feel like when you struggle through sometimes, you understand that now that I'm here, why I'll never go back. Not just because it's easier, but because the struggle that it comes with some of these, I don't want to say inferior, but just lesser tools,
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You are trying to find, I purposely go out to find the faults in some of the tools that I use. So I know, okay, this can't do this, so I'm not going to utilize it for this particular event and whatnot. That's why some of my pieces, people are like, is this traditional or digital? And I'm like, it's traditional because I wanted to get this look and this, that, and the other, so.
And it's really cool too, because like I've seen your grocery bags, like the originals too, that you've brought. And there's a certain, I don't even want to call it mystique, but there's just a certain like just beauty to that because it's so rough in its original form. Like, and I really love that you do that. And it's almost too like, you're the kind of person I really truly believe that can make art out of anything. So like, cause I've said, again, we're going to be flashing your artwork all over this thing.
No problem.
And it's just, I love that you are traditional still. Like a lot of people would go to digital because it's easier because like you make a mistake, take Control Z, like, and you can get that line until you get, but you don't have that luxury sometimes. I mean, I know you sketch too before you do that, but like I give so much credit to people who do that because I won't even touch physical because if I make a bad line, I'll go back. Like, I'll go and just throw it away or something,
Yeah, no, it's a great point you bring up. There's that idea that I've noticed with a lot of digital artists that when I've watched them sketch out something traditionally, they struggle so much because there's that safety net of Control Z, and things like that, or different layers, and it's not to take anything away from them because the minute they go back onto something digital, they create magic, and it is awesome to watch and whatnot. But
different skills.
Yeah, it's different skills. But I think to some degree, it doesn't translate the other way. And that's what comes with your point is that when you start digital and you go to traditional, there's a lot that you're not taking into effect, and what that is, what I've learned from watching them is that they lack confidence.
Sure.
And I'll say this in a way, again, I'm not trying to rag on anybody like that, but when you are confident with your lines and your strokes and things like that, you don't care about how it's going to come out because how it's going to come out. You have that control and you live with the results at the end of the day. If you don't like it, we'll grab some, white out or whatever, and we start over. But the guys and gals, especially in the comic book world, those guys are amazing.
Right.
Because they know. They're like, oh yeah, bam, look at that stroke. One shot. They got it, and it is truly amazing to just kind of see that.
There is an aspect of going back to first principles with certain things. Like, as a writer, like, you learn how to write, but also there are a lot of tools now that can fix things for you. And they're getting more and more intelligent, not to speak of just even flat out AI to write things for you. But even before that, all these tools can correct things as you go. But you can always kind of tell like the people who have a good basis in the skills prior to any of those tools.
Yep.
And you see kind of the same thing, I think. Like, I grew up in the era of, learning math in school where you weren't allowed to use calculators and things like that. And we didn't have the money for me to have a graphing calculator. But then the kids who don't know how to do it without one, they're struggling, I'm like, it helps to get those first principles down and build on that because you can build all those other skills off of it. But like you said, it doesn't work in reverse.
Right.
Absolutely. And to facts, because I went to school for video and media production, like, because I wanted to make movies and everything. Now I'm making podcasts. So it's the same thing, right? Okay. But when I went to start making books, I knew how to do it because like some of the concepts translated, like to your point. So it's just like, you just got to be confident enough in some of those skills that you already have than to just kind of venture out to do these other things. So I'm sure as you drew and you went from like pens to like markers and to topic markers or whatever, like you were just building on what you already knew, which is great, you know. And like you said too, it's just people don't have that basis now, and they just want to go to the end game or the end result to try to get to that. Like AI is a kind of example of this too, because like if I can make me a cute cat with a hat on there, and it's like I made art, and like. Did you? Like, you know?
Yeah, I was at a reading actually by Moby. I don't know if you know who Moby is.
The singer?
Yeah. He was doing a reading over at Majors and Quinn Bookstore because he had a memoir come out. And he was saying, you know, like he was talking about DJing back in the 90s. And he's like, now, like anyone who has a smartphone can make music.
Absolutely.
Like, they can make that kind of music. But, you know, they can't, again, that's a skill that's not going to translate in reverse, you know? And it that really occurs to you with how far removed technology can be now from the original source of things.
Oh, of course.
Because it's so much more distant that it'd be so much harder to try to reverse engineer those skills.
Yep.
And then you get even more afraid of even trying.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's great. Yeah. I think it's great that technology is moving that way, because there are just some things that, you know, we will move away from as time goes on. It's just inevitable, you know,
and it's healthy even.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. You know, we as humans shouldn't be trying to constantly move backwards just to produce something good, or stay with old ways just to make something good.
Right.
You know, you shouldn't hate, like, when Photoshop first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, I can't, this isn't hard. You just click this button and it filled it for you.
Right.
You know, you're like, but I clicked it. And you're like, oh, that doesn't matter.
You didn't take the brush and soak it in the paint first. And like,
correct.
There used to be certain bands in like film competitions or whatever from like computer generated graphics and things like that.
I tell a story quick, which I think is so funny. So they had a competition for AI art. Like, you know, so they had like, give me your best AI art and everything. This guy enters a piece of work, and it was a real piece he did, and he won the competition, and then he disqualified him because it wasn't a piece of AI art. And I'm just like, that's the funniest thing to me.
That's good flex.
Yeah.
No. And it's for what it is and what people are able to create, you know. I think there's room for everything.
Sure.
You know, even with computers, even with smartphones.
Yeah.
Photographers are still out there putting in the work with their plethora of different devices that do different things. You know, you've got people that are, you know, like myself, I'm still picking up a pencil as they tell me to do, you know, to do art and such and whatever. You know, I think ultimately it's just, we're sort of moving away from what art in my eyes is supposed to be, which is, as they say, it's a level of expression from writing to your videos to even just putting on a podcast. You know, there's a creativity, there's effort put into it and whatnot. And this table, there's a fine line of, am I doing this art for myself, or am I doing it for other people? Am I trying to please other people with what I do? You know, no, and
you're gonna be poor forever.
No, that's
and what every person's individual like attention that they're trying to, like, whether it's for money or just for, you know, self-purpose or whatever, that all has a seat at the table too.
Oh, it absolutely
I like
does.
that you say that, because and you can change your mind too. I feel like one year you can say, you know what, I really want to try to make money. And then you might realize that might not be as fulfilling, or vice versa, the other way around. You might change your mind, and that's okay too, because life is fluid, right? And art is fluid.
Yeah. There's room for all of it. But yeah, like what you're saying, like what you feel like art is supposed to be, you have to go back to first principles with that too. Like, you can't lose touch with the roots of what it's for, even if you twist it into all these different, modern forms, like, you know, writing to market. I hear a lot lately about writing to market.
Sure.
And yeah, that's fine for some people. It's not something I want to do, because for me, it's less about the identity as a writer and more about, I have things I want to write.
Right.
So if I don't care about being a writer, but I have things I want to write, why would I write for my audience? It's like the worst of both worlds to me.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And that's what's meaningful to you too, right? Yeah.
But like at its core, for the first principles of art or music or whatnot is expression. and that can be used for different purposes. But like I feel like that's its identity at its core.
Yeah. No, well said.
I mean, it's one of those things too. It's like I jokingly say money. I mean,
Right,
and I'm half serious about it, but because it's one of those things that like I would love to live very frugally and like write and do stuff, but it's like it takes so much to live, and that's the thing. Like, and this doesn't pay a lot, as it pays good. Like you can. I always like it when you go to cons and then you get something back, and it just kind of like not validates, but proves that you are doing something, that you are getting money back, and it's worth the effort.
You're doing something of
people
value.
are valuing it to the point. I think what, instead of saying like, I want to do it for money, it's what you're really meaning is you want it to be self-sustaining.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, always. And that's the thing. Cause like, again, we have a job, and I was telling you earlier, like it's a job, it pays well, fine, but it's not what's ever going to fulfill me in the end. Like when I'm on my deathbed, what am I going to be proud of? My job that I do and everything. I do a good job, but that's not the thing, right? That's not the thing that I'm going to remember fondly. It's playing video games too, but that's another,
and that's legitimate too.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a waste of time.
Yeah, no. People are dumb who say that video games is a waste of time. No. So
They've never played a good video game.
yeah, that's right. They never played Trico or Last Guardian.
Well, that's that is a great statement. Is there's this especially with the older generation, because they didn't play video games the way that a lot of people do now.
Yeah,
there isn't that concept of this is meaningful to a degree, because there are kids out there that are making mad bank playing these video games. And I am jealous beyond all belief, because I've always been an incredibly competitive person, especially in first person shooters and fighting games. And, when you had friends like mine, all you had to do is kind of suppress yourself, and you're like, oh man, I'm the try hard of the group here. I've got to dial it back down and things like that.
Yeah.
But the idea of just watching people really invest time, and then they're showing off, well, yeah, man, check out this strat that we came up with, this boss. Now we can finally beat it,
right.
and things like that. And seeing 24 other people work together to take down something, and you're like, that's going on my resume. So I
Collaboration.
am good.
I'm a team
good
leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and there's,
Focus.
I mean, people don't always realize this, but there are whole channels. There's at least one whole channel in Korea dedicated to StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
Competitive StarCraft. And they have announcers that, like, it's just like watching a sporting event.
Yeah.
They have announcers. They do the pregame, the postgame,
Right.
they do the replays, like all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's serious stuff. And that's not even about just making bank. Like, you're inspiring people. Like I've told this story on this podcast before that, I grew up playing Sid Meier's Pirates on my computer on the old Mac Plus, the black and white. And I've got 2 pirate novels out now, and my mom asked me, like, where did you learn all this Caribbean geography? And I was like, those games, those games that you were always saying were a waste of our time. It was like, this thing came with a map. I studied that map. I needed to know where to go to get good prices, all that kind of stuff. And I learned it. There is a way to learn. They are inspiration. They're inspiring a whole new generation of creatives in every pursuit. Whether it's music, you guys go to Video Game Music Con, or like graphic arts, or video games, or writing, or whatever.
Surprisingly, I didn't become a plumber, but that was a calling.
And we know one.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
But so I know you draw a lot of like Marvel and DC and a lot of like comic books and stuff like that. And I've seen Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Elden Ring that you've done, and Metroid. Like I'm a fan of your work, if you don't notice, but I was like,
no idea. Thank you.
Yeah, the shirts
New to me.
say it
Yeah,
all.
actually, these are your shirts. So
they are lovely. You guys are. I mean, they look wonderful on you. I should have you model them.
I mean, we'll do that.
Yeah, right.
I'm available for gigs.
Like, what's the pay?
It's $20 an hour. That's
Exposure.
What I got. Yeah,
But I will also say that you have a talent for. Well, the first time we met you was at VGM Con.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year. I think it was
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
2023.
Yeah.
Oh, I met you at Quantum Con like 2023.
That same year.
Same
It
here.
was the next month.
Yep.
Or
So
next week.
same place I met. you.
Yeah.
I saw your art.
No.
And you had a way of making such a captivating image of a character that I knew nothing about, that I had no idea. It was a character from Elden Ring. But I was just like, that is stunning. I love her eyes. She's speaking to me. I need to have it.
Mhm.
And so we've just, every time we're just so excited to see, work that whatever you're working on, whatever it is. And I don't know if that helps segue. I just need to give that little shout out of.
No,
Yeah,
because you have and you've had these, they have the artistic, eras that people seem to draw in, you have Baroque or you have pointillism, whatever, but you seem to even have your own different styles because now you're into black and white and then you're starting to add color now to your black and whites and everything. So I find it fascinating how you're following where your art is letting you go because you just had to feel like this is what I want to do. These stark colors from the black and white tell more about your artwork or that's just what you want to do. And it's fulfilling you somewhat, right?
Yeah. So thank you first and foremost. The goal with a lot of those things is the picture pretty? Is it a pretty picture?
Mm-hmm.
Is it sort of catching you in that sort of, as they say, as generic as it is, the eyes are the windows to the soul. So for me, that's kind of where I'm always trying to draw you in first with these eyes. And so if I can get you there, hopefully the rest of it can kind of pull you in, similar to the cover of a novel. 9 times out of 10, it's the first thing you see from across the way. And you're like, oh, wow, that's a really cool picture. There's a mother and son just kind of back to back looking up to the sky. How awesome is that? Let me go up to a little bit closer and see a little bit more, right? So now we've got you in at the table and this is kind of where I leave it to you,
Yeah.
Do you like what you see?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pressure you because I come from a very customer service background where you greet your customer, you come in, you tell them just kind of a little bit, get them their appetizer kind of wet, their appetite a little wet, and then you leave them alone.
Right. That's where I'm kind of jealous of how you get to do things because as authors, that's where we have to step it up.
Right.
Because they don't know what they're buying. Like I've said this before, all art is 100% risk for the buyer until they've consumed it. Visual art is immediately consumed as soon as they look at it.
Yep.
So it is immediately effectively zero risk.
They don't even have to pay for it.
Yeah,
they can just look at it and be like, cool, I'll never remember that. And then they're done,
They're buying it for reconsumption.
Yes.
For books, they're buying it for consumption. They don't know what they're getting. So we have to tell them and pitch.
Of course.
But the art is what gets our foot in the door.
Yep.
And I've heard so many authors say things like, oh, I got a really good deal. I got like $5 for this cover. And I'm like, you're paying more than $5 for it on the back end.
Sure.
In lost sales,
Yeah.
But I get compliments all the time on my cover for my second book, especially.
Yeah.
And I mean, I commissioned that from this guy, in the UK. He charged me about what I expected to pay. It would sound like a lot to a lot of people, and I've never regretted it.
Yeah.
Because it's doing its job.
It's doing its job.
Right.
Exactly.
And plus you got a great piece of artwork. Because that's the one thing too, is even if no one bought my book, I'd have this piece of artwork. I'm willing to pay for good art. And that's the thing too, is it's I feel like a lot of artists undercharge or that some people want to pay this high price because they're like, oh, it's not worth it. It's it's absolutely worth it. It's just you want to get a deal or you're trying to you don't want to spend that much. You're getting an original piece of work that never existed before.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't afford it. I can't afford it isn't the same as it's not worth it.
Yeah. That is very true. Yeah.
And that's a really good sort of section here when it comes to things like that. Because as somebody that does art, I'm always afraid of those moments.
Yeah.
When you do create something for someone and you're like, this is my price, and it's either I'm always sometimes a little worried, is it a little bit too much for these folks or whatever? Is it, am I underselling myself and things like that?
Yeah.
And I think ultimately what I've just come down to is look, I know that I'm not some established person out there in terms of the comic, video game, whatever world like that. But I take pride in what I do. And there was time and effort involved in this truly.
Yeah.
So
Time,
I know
effort,
what,
and skill.
and so I know what it's worth to me. And that's kind of what I've charged for stuff. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are just, they're just fine with it, but some of the folks, when you do sell certain things at shows and you've been sitting on it for like 6-7 months or whatever. And then finally you get to that one show and somebody's like, oh my gosh, these are awesome. And you're only asking this much for it?
Yep.
I'd like it right now. And I'm like, you haven't been sitting on it for 6-7 months, my guy.
They're just like, take my money right now.
And we've seen too, like when people want to buy something, the price doesn't matter so much.
Correct.
Like they'll get to that point where like we've tested different prices for our books and everything. And you're like, oh, this one's only this long, so maybe we should only charge 14, or no, we should charge 15. And like your book is a little smaller, but we still charge 15 because the value of your book is worth as much as even mine because of the images and stuff like that and art. And it's just like once they've decided, they're in, like,
Absolutely.
and they're just like,
well, and the things that they decide, the factors they're considering aren't really rational. Like,
sure.
Like I know there's a meme out there of like, $20 seems like a lot for a book. And the other person, it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't know if it's Wolf of Wall Street or The Big Short or whatever.
Yeah.
And the other person's like, didn't you literally just pay $7 for a greeting card with a paragraph in it?
Yeah.
And people are deciding based on almost intangible things, and which, I actually intend to build an ad around that, but
emotional impact
it's
too.
a lot of it's about the time investment that they're expecting to put into it, or if it's like a piece of art, like what they intend to do with it. And, there's all kinds of weird justifications that go through their mind. So sometimes that stuff matters and they're like hemming and hawing about it. And other times they're like, absolutely not. And other times they're like, absolutely take my money.
Right.
And you don't really even know what all goes into it, but the price point is only one of maybe 100 factors.
Right. And it's not even the most important a lot of times. Yeah.
And I think that ties, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. It ties back into something you were saying earlier about, finding your voice, finding your audience, us as authors too. We know that our readers are out there, and that your people that like your art, they're out there, right? Fans. Okay.
Viewers.
Your fans. I was going to say that. I was like,
eyeball lookers.
Eyeball lookers. They're out there.
Consume.
And, I think that that's one of the tough parts of going to different conventions, exploring different types of art at different types of conventions. And, you've been doing conventions for how long now?
So I'm just slowly getting it. This is year 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So not that long. Yeah. super new to it. But to sort of touch on your point, I love going to different places. I love going new places. I love meeting new people because that gives me an opportunity to present myself in any way, shape, or form in hopes that I can get new fans, get people hooked on what I do and things like that. I meticulously sit there with a pen and a feather that I dip in ink. And I'm like, okay, so I've got these Zoomers here. They come to this show. It seems like there's 52% of those guys that come here versus the older folks that don't. So those folks, believe it or not, the Zoomers really, really love to see something and they're like, I want it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts for the majority. As long as they've got the money, 9 times out of 10, they're like, I want that because it looks good. It's shiny, and they just, they don't care about the price. Mm-hmm. They're like, if I've got the money, I'll buy it. And, and it goes from there. I would say when it comes to comic book people, the comic book people are a lot more reserved. They're very much pipe smokers. They come and they walk around with their little pipes. Yes,
they all just watched Unbreakable.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a piece of art.
Right, yeah. You would like how much for this? Okay. I'm going to make my rounds and then I'll return.
Cautious buyer.
That's a nice way of saying I won't be back.
Well,
but they do.
Sometimes.
There is this is why I, to a certain extent, I truly do appreciate them a bit more, because when they do come back, they're like, hey, I've walked around this entire area. And while I've seen some great stuff, your stuff is what I want.
The money.
See, I wait till that moment to appreciate them more.
Yes.
Not until you see them come back. It's like, no.
It's the best feeling though, to know that you lingered with them in some way, shape, or form, that they couldn't stop thinking about it.
You were unique.
Right.
Exactly. And so it's even cooler when it's like a parent and a kid and their kids wanted something. And, you know, they're like, yeah, we just got here. Let's go walk around. Let's go look at some other things. And they come back and, you know, like, yeah, you know, they just really want your stuff. So, you know, and you're like, oh, wow, thank you. Thank you so much, you know? And so, those are truly blessed moments. And, you know, I don't ever take those things for granted at all, just because, for me, these are memories that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life, you know. And it's also really great seeing people do that for others. You know, just big shout out to Dennis Vogan, who's also another author. Dennis. Yeah, you know. And my first time hanging out with him, he was we were down at Nerding Out again, and he had a line of people waiting, and this family came and. He talked with them and everything, and this little girl bought his book, one of his newer books at the time, and she was walking away with the parent, and she begins like jumping up and down, just holding the book across her chest, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Dennis, look at it. And he didn't see it because he was with somebody else, but I sort of made it my goal to say, hey man, I just saw this, and this was awesome. I just want to let you know, you know, that you missed that awesome moment. I'm going to hold that over your head every time I see you now. But man, that's just got, you know, it really does matter a lot. And, you know, I would like to believe that as a creative, especially when writing a book, somebody comes back and says, I hated what you did in that chapter, but absolutely, or you know, I really love this. I can't wait for more. You know, this character really resonated with me or something like that. And I've never had any problem saying this. I truly respect writers a lot because of the fact that you are telling a story, and every different person gets to envision it if they're, you know, sort of doing what I do, why I can't finish a book, which is I am visually looking and creating this world in my head as I'm reading. I've stopped reading. My eyes are going, but now I'm just in there thinking of all the cool stuff, you know, that's happening. And to inspire it that way, that's just a really good way of writing. And I've always just found folks who can do that. So awesome, you know. So congrats to you guys for, you know, for doing that stuff.
We all live in this sort of creative community where we all get to admire each other's skills. Even within the same art form, you know, because we all bring something different from a different background.
Of course.
And I was curious too, because maybe you were getting to this earlier, but he said you do a lot of like, you know, comic based art and things like what's the original work that you're most attached to or proud of, or you're even just the one that was first and most sustainable, sustainable, like best longevity, like you keep coming back to it.
Oh yeah, no, that's a really, really good question. So I'll tell you right now, I hate superheroes, and I'm not a big comic book person when it comes to superheroes. So I grew up sneaking heavy metal magazines around from all over the place. People would bring me these things. My friends at school and stuff was like, dude, check this out. This is awesome. You know, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. You know, truly like, the Mirage Boys with their, you know, Ninja Turtles, the first running of them when they were very ultra violent and things.
And they're black and white.
Yeah, the black and white, you know, and that's the stuff that really just kind of really stood with me. I mean, I'm a lifelong Ninja Turtles person. I love Ninja Turtles, period.
Have you drawn any? I don't think I've ever seen.
I have. If you give me a sheet of paper right now, I will draw the head of a Ninja Turtle with my eyes closed for you, if you would like. Because that's what I did growing up, was just looking at that toy box, the very first, the 96.
The big, like, round
with the
nose.
round nose. Yeah, exactly. I studied that so much, and I just was obsessed with them. And so that's when I began to kind of like find my sort of calling of like, man, I'd love like fantasy stuff and whatnot. But I was still very much into the X-Men. Because they were different. It was a bunch of different superheroes. It wasn't just one superhero. It was oh man, this guy's got claws. Oh, this dude throws cards. That's freaking awesome.
It's like a superhero buffet.
Yes, exactly.
If you don't like half of them, you just
there's something for somebody.
And also the idea, like you could be one too. You just don't know. Your latent powers just haven't come in yet.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. And that's just kind of where I kept going with those. I have some pieces that I always kind of come back to it. It's more, there's a possum that I did hanging from a little tree.
Sure.
And my grandma had it for all my life. Like I drew it once and then she took it and I never saw it until like an adult, kind of like later on in life and what. But that's kind of one I've always pointed to in terms of somebody seeing potential in me. And yeah, it's a family member or whatever, but I've got other family members that are like, hey man, let me see your work. And you bring it and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then they toss it back and that's it. And it doesn't go anymore. There's no sort of investigation, you know, and whatnot. And so
you can tell real appreciation because the family thing does get you, like it does get people to a point, that connection.
Yeah.
But it's not sustained if they're not genuinely interested in it after that.
Exactly. And I had stopped showing sort of other family members as time went on, you know, and so, but my grandma, that sort of piece was always in her home. And no matter who came over, it was like, oh yeah, this is his drawing. Sure. Look at it, you know? And so, I was always thankful of that. My mom had some stuff that I did in high school as well. When I was learning, pastels and chalk and whatnot.
I
so
love pastel drawings.
I do too. It was many a days just kind of trying to figure out how that is. But I will say, to build on one last point of like what really stuck with me in terms of my piece and such, it was truly because there was a guy in school and there was 4 of us that were the best artists in our group in school at the time.
Sure.
And these guys, we were all competing all the time with each other. And I was the lowest tier out of all of them because I didn't know how to properly shade. I didn't know how to color. The concept of going from light to dark. Yeah. I didn't know the real like technique behind that. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to scribble this chalk or graphite on the paper and smudge it with my finger and just push it around. Yeah. But I'm not actually knowing why I'm doing this. Right. It just looks cool. Yeah. You know, and then one day, his name was Lee. And I said, Lee, dude, I'd really love it if you can kind of maybe show me how to do this. Yeah. And he's like, all right, bro, here's the deal. I'm hungry.
The bargain.
If you can buy me a sandwich and a drink, I will teach you how to do this stuff. Wow. And I'm like,
that's okay. Not a bad deal.
Yeah. And you know, we're in the Caribbean at the time. So $5 gets you a lot at that time for it. So got him the meal and then we sat down and in 15 minutes, we went through like this little drill of a cube. And he's just like, this is what it is. Here's why we do this and why it happens. And everything just clicked.
Yeah. Those are the best teachers.
They are. Totally. Because then I became the villain amongst everybody. Sure. Because now there was no sort of like border. Right. There wasn't a line that I'm like, damn, I can't cross this. I've crossed it. Yep. And now I'm here to set a standard for you people to catch up. Right. And that's exactly what happened was I started doing a lot of things, figuring that out and just going nuts with it. And my art teacher was like, this is what happened here. Right. You know,
just unlocked it.
Yeah.
It's also why you're here and not Lee.
Right.
No. Also, he might still he
big
might
shout out to Lee, man. I've actually I've actually gone to look for those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So back in 2020, not 2020, I'm sorry. Back in 2010, celebrating my 30th birthday and my dad's, 60th. I went back home for the first time in 15 years. Oh, wow. I'd gone back home to just like take a look at everything. And so I went out to try to find these guys to be like, what are you doing now, man? You know, I'd love to see what you're working on. Right. And no one could be found, you know, and it was just, it's a different world now. I was going up this, what we call the Valley Road. And that when I lived there, I could just walk up that place, no problems whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I started walking when I was there and I was just by myself and this car pulls up and it's like, hey boy, where you going? I'm going up to the road up here to look for a friend. He goes, hey man, if you're not in a car, somebody will kidnap you and this ain't good, man. You know, you need to get out of here. And I'm like, really? And it was just, it just like, wow, how times change and things like that. Yeah, exactly. It was totally different. And I was like, wow, this is so interesting. I never thought I could, like, just a place that I had never had any problem just nonchalantly walking.
Yeah, I'm going back to somewhere I feel safe at home.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm entering another country, another world.
Yeah.
And that's just progress to some degree, but there's also, like any other place in the world, there's politics and stuff that is happening, and
sometimes there's just the illusion of safety,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. And I just wanted to be one of those guys, even though I don't have money like that, to be like, hey, I came back home to talk and just kind of share my experience, share what I've learned and pass that knowledge on for free, and things like that, and see if anybody would take it with them and, kind of go from there.
That's awesome.
So
I know you have, you obviously are doing cons to get like all your artwork out there for people to see, and it's online on your Instagram and stuff like that. But has there ever been like that wander desire to be like in an art gallery or try to get your art somewhere where, I hate saying like where it'll be noticed, in the bigger world.
Isolated.
Yeah,
where you don't have to do it all through wandering, and because you're literally finding your audience. Like you said, this demographic wants this, and they act this way. And, and that's all a process. We've all been through that, I think,
Absolutely. So I've wanted to do a gallery, but I want to sort of set the record straight on certain things, on what I consider an artist and what I don't. And I've always said this, and I truly do mean this. I am not an artist. I don't consider myself an artist. I'm just more of like a wandering guy. I am truly just wandering around sort of the cosmos. I have no true intent on those things, because I don't create my art truly to trigger an emotion from someone. I'm having an emotion when I'm doing my work because it makes me feel good, because I'm doing the techniques that feel good as I'm doing them and whatnot. It's very quiet. I know a lot of creative people that work at night. They love work, that just the sound of absolutely nothing. And you're working away and whatnot. And that's what makes me happy. And that's kind of what I do my work in. And I truly don't think you would know that looking at my work.
Sure.
Right. And so I don't see myself as that. And so when it comes to like galleries and things like that, I just don't think my work suits that world.
Interesting.
Because when I think of a gallery, I think of truly of people who are expressing themselves really beyond what like a human, like a basic human would think of, because I look at that stuff and I go, yeah, that's art, baby. That's truly different than what I'm just taking a character that I think is cool. And I'm like, sweet, I'm just going to draw it in my style and go from there. I come up with some original stuff just for fantasy, because fantasy is a place that you cannot go wrong at the end of the day. You can come up with some of the most weird stuff and people are like, well, yeah, that's fantasy. It's just the person, as long as you can do that. By the way, I'm the worst person to go see horror movies with.
Do you get scared?
No, I don't get scared. That's my problem. I would love to get scared at horror flicks just because I would love to be scared. I would love to just scream out loud and things like that.
Sure.
Because
just
of
walking
that.
to that house.
Right. Yeah. Really should have.
You'll learn to scream real quick.
So
You guys,
the problem is that I will watch. I will give the movie the benefit of the doubt. But the minute my brain's like, why would you even go in there, dude? Like, even before you know what's in there, I wouldn't do that in real life, period.
Yeah.
So it's now
Like,
taking me out of the movie, and
Yep.
I'm pissed, But I would say the Saw series, that series has been one that kept my attention
was great.
for a lot, through a lot of things, especially the fourth one we saw in the theater. And there was a moment that happens, and I won't spoil it, granted it's been out for decades, that this character comes in and I got up and I'm like, this guy. And then somebody in the theater was like, this guy, yeah. Like, they were so invested in it as well to see this character come back. And people were like, oh, dang. It was kind of cool to have that moment with somebody.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what do you go see? Oh, a horror flick.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're kind of
excited.
Yeah, you're excited about that, So
I can't watch horror films with you because
I like being immersed. I like being scared because it's the only time I can be like safely scared.
right. Absolutely.
But because you got mad when we first started dating, like I was watching horror films and like it's not that like I don't get scared by them, but I'll start laughing when I know someone's gonna die. And it's just
right.
like it's just
a fair response.
That is a little bit of a mood change.
It is because you'll see something that like the killers come behind. I'm like, that guy's dead.
He's gone.
And she got so mad. I'm surprised you didn't break up with me at that point because I wasn't a jerk about it, but I would just ruin it for you.
I don't know why horror films don't have a laugh track.
Right.
They should, right?
So I bet you guys have never watched Final Destination series with each other.
Actually, we haven't. He tried. He tried showing me the fourth one.
Yeah, whatever the one was called, The Final Destination. Because I thought it was Final Destination, which the first one's great. Like I loved it and everything because it's a smarter film. Like when you have like I don't know, a different way of doing stuff where it's not just like, ooh, the spooky ghost or whatever, or Freddy Krueger or Jason. Like they're boring to me because there's no real challenge. It's just survival, and that's I mean that's fine. People like it for that reason. I get it. It's all horror, gore, whatever. But it's just like Final Destination was clever about the way they went about killing people. Like I find that like the whole like Rube Goldberg like thing where this is gonna fall over here and then this is gonna fall there and the guy's gonna get a thing around his neck and he's gonna get choked to death and it's gonna look like an accident, and some of that.
Death is clever.
I'm
curious though, Chris, because like with art being your thing, have you ever dived into any other forms of media or like not just like pens or you're talking about pastels? Or telling story with anything? Is there anything else you've done?
Or even other art forms, music or anything?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. It's been something that I have tried growing up. My grandma had this like mini ukulele in her house that I was like, what is this? Is this a guitar? She's like, no, it's
a baby guitar.
Yeah. I'm like, huh. So in high school, I truly tried to learn how to play that. Because all my friends were cool with their like real electric guitars or acoustic guitars and they're jamming out to Metallica, playing their little riffs and such. And I'm like, I'm in the background just trying to figure this out, And I'm like,
tiptoe through the window.
This thing were electric.
Right. But no, I was like, man, I can draw, but I can't. My hand's dumb. This hand's dumb, so I can't figure out how to play. Okay, that's cool. So I stopped that. Yeah. But I did try to get into streaming. I found that a really good avenue in terms of reaching out to people and trying to share what I learned with people for free. So Twitch was a big thing and still is. And so I started streaming back in 2013, 2014. Is when I started doing that. And I was on there for 7 years, really trying to get out. And I had two screens. I had my mug, my face up, and then I had my art down below, and then the game in the sort of the center area. And so while playing different games, I would take requests from people in the channel. I would draw below on the smaller area in pen. And then, we talk about stuff and just kind of go from there. And I was like, things were kind of going good, mixing it with regular work. So I'm working a 9 to 5. I'm there in the mornings and then I go home and I stream from, like 9 p.m. all the way till 3 in the morning or whatever. You're trying to put in like another 8 hours of this thing because you had to, you're trying to compete with other people. So, but I realized doing that I'm not a funny guy. I'm not clever,
but
well, that's kind of what that sort of audience, I couldn't capture people. I couldn't keep them coming back for more.
You're right. Being solo, I think it's riffing off of other people.
Yeah.
I did try bringing some more people.
You did?
Yeah. Yep. I had friends that we would do Wednesday night group games where we'd get a bunch of other streamers. So we would have a multi-stream so you could watch from different angles and things like that, people playing. And I just couldn't keep people entertain.
Interesting.
I truly don't believe that was kind of like what I was strong at.
Well,
Never-
yeah.
You know, and so it was just like, I can't tell a funny joke. I don't have any quips like that I can just kind of pop out like there, you know? So
I am angry at the internet right now, by the way.
you know,
like,
But we kind of learn and adapt, though, right?
yeah, you know, but, and this is not for you to take pity on me, truly,
Sure.
when I say this part.
no.
But, one of the things was I love giving back to people that supported me. And so, while you were in the channel, you would get channel points as you were like sort of participating. You get 20 points for showing up. You get 5 points every 10 minutes for just being in the channel and watching. So at the end of the month, I had a little cool, like little game type thing. Like I would draw the covers of NES games. And I'm like, if you could guess it, you would get like 100 points added to your overall bonus and things like that. So
Did you draw Jackal?
I did draw Jackal. Yes. I love Jackal.
That's such a
I
good
love
game,
Jackal.
man.
It is a good game.
Yes.
It is an
Sorry.
absolutely
No one
awesome
knows
game.
what that is.
Nope.
but,
Nope.
like,
No
It's
clue.
an awesome game. I loved it because you're like, hey man, this is one of the games where you could play 2-player. You're in
Yep.
Jeeps.
Yep.
You know?
It's like the pre-Contra, like
Yep.
Super
Oh, yeah.
C, like,
Yep,
you know.
yep. Nope. I love Jackal. I love all those shooter
Oh,
games.
yeah. We should get together, play some shooter
Hey,
games.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
I'd be
Gotta
down.
get back to the original Contra. You know, I was good at that.
That's a good game.
Richard Contra 3. There's a new one called Blazing Chrome that was like their like spiritual
Successor.
to it. I had my cousin's little side story. We do this little battle where we get together and we all play a game and see who's just better. Like and I bought this game for both of them and said, okay, you two play. You've never played. Let's see who can get the farthest in all your lives and everything. And they had a blast and everything. It's a great game. It's fun. Yeah.
It is. It's sort of like a timeless.
Yeah.
Sort of like Super Mario.
Yeah.
You know? But I would take $150 from my check every month and put it aside.
Just
So
for that.
people at the end of the month, the person with the most points would get a $60 game off Steam. The second person would get a $40 and the last person would get a $30.
Awesome.
I did that for 3 years. And as time went on, less and less people started showing up. And I'm sitting here going, how horrible of a human being am I? Where I'm literally giving you an opportunity to get brand new games.
Yeah.
And you folks don't want to show up or anything. It's not like I'm playing boring games or I'm playing new stuff that's out. This is Overwatch was out and again, competitive, you know, so we're putting in the hours on those, you know, and just other really interesting things, you know, and try to keep at the time, any sort of like political stuff totally off the channel, you know, and it was always a welcoming environment, period, you know, and I just couldn't capture the people at the end of the day.
It's such a weird thing too, because I always feel like that, like the more controversial, the more like edgy people are the ones that got all the viewers. Even now, like, you know, I see some of these streamers and I'm just like, why do people follow you? You're the most insufferable person I've ever seen. Like, you know, and
that's what sells.
Yeah, I know.
It's the dopamine.
Sure.
Like the less I have to participate in my own entertainment, you know, the better. And like, if this person is constantly going like bananas crazy, then it's something to watch all the time. And it gives me this little
and waiting for to see them.
hit.
I think it's one of those things too, where it's just like they're waiting for them to fail. Like they want to be the moment there when they see them do something like say the N word or something like that. Like they just
I'm
like
gonna post this video and it'll go viral.
Yep.
Be attention for me.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, that's sort of the world we live in now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys heard of the gal who had been priming herself to get onto OnlyFans. So the minute that she hit 18, her site would go live and go from there. And so you've got her parents who were like on board with this stuff.
Because they got 10%.
Well, yeah, you know, whatever
So
they
gross.
get, you know, and she had pictures ready within an hour of her turning 18. Here's where the interesting part comes in. These photos, if I'm not mistaken, were all taken before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Time.
Yeah.
So she was technically a minor
And that's-
during that time.
Yeah.
And so let's
Totally illegal.
just take away what they did. Look at all the people that bought into this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad. And you're like,
on.
wow. Okay. So this is what you people are enjoying now.
What do you mean, you people?
You know, right? I mean,
What do you
mean, you
I
people?
will yuck
Right?
somebody's yum here.
Yeah, like, that's messed up, man. Like,
Yeah, you know, and it's just that's our world now, and it's tough to compete with things like that. You know, I can't sleep with 1,500 guys in one day.
have you tried?
I mean, I gotta be honest with you.
1,402.
Juice.
Well, we were supposed to cut off at 1,000, but these other dudes were like right there, and I'm like, I've never seen
waiting.
this many condom wrappers in one place at one time. So I might as well keep going.
Scheduled my rectal surgery for the next day.
Right.
What else was I
now I
supposed
don't
to
even
do?
need it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
all the polyps are gone.
He was the last one to
No, that's true. By the way. Yeah, so her name is Bonnie Blue. She is an adult actress. And originally she did 100 guys in one day. And then she was like, I would like to one up myself. And I'm going to do 1,000 guys in one day. And so that's what she did. She screened 1,000 guys, even a 17-year-old who showed up. His mom showed up that day and was like, what are you doing?
What, with like a letter of permission?
No, she was like, what are you doing here? Because his friends sold him out or something.
Good friends.
And she came,
Good friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
You heard it
interesting.
here.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, there you go.
Or you may have heard this before.
right.
Yeah.
And we write books and make art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's no way to compete. And in a way, kind of like talking about earlier with the folding things in the wind, like,
Oh, yeah.
like we sometimes, I'm not saying doing things like that. I'm just saying not fighting that there are people that are just going to want things like that just because they have their own reasons, and knowing that we have our readers, we have our viewers, our fans. They're out there. They're out there. We just have to find them. And, and you know, obviously, like, not obviously, sorry. In a way for you, you learn that Twitch might not have been your best medium. And that's a very like humbling thing. That's hard to accept and grapple. And, you know, for us too, we've gone through a few different creative things to get to where we are, and that it is almost like it's part of the process in a way.
Trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
You're not just finding your audience, you're finding your medium.
Sort of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I will say though, I do cater to certain people out there. I don't mind the gooners whatsoever. Those people are there, as you heard him giggling there on the side. You know, I have had no problem with doing art for people like that.
Sure.
You know, and I'm not trying to put them in a box or anything like that. Because for college, I got helped from people who were like, hey man, I would like this drawn. Is that something you do? Why, yes. I can help you in this category right here. These are my
delivery.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I need half up front first, and then we'll continue
These
from
tits
there.
are not going to draw themselves.
Oh,
Right,
so, you
right.
know.
No,
I
absolutely.
didn't know what a
Yeah. So
You don't
it's
have
the
to
new
explain.
term right now for people that are, you know, they're into the spicy stuff, the
Yeah.
lewd stuff and whatnot.
Okay.
It's just a term for the you know, perverts now, I guess.
Yeah, that would be a
honestly
good
Sure.
word.
what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
It has a certain charm to it, and when you hear the word gooner, because it's
yeah.
funny because you don't if you don't know what it is, you're not thinking like, oh, this person's perverted. Like, what's a gooner?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Does he mean Goonies?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
A
it could
cult
also be like you're
classic.
obsessed with something.
Sure.
I'm just like, man, I'm gooned out, you know, or whatever.
I don't even want to speculate on what that would
Right,
mean.
exactly.
It's when your hand is just too tired, man.
Right.
Like, you know.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
If you notice, this hand is bigger than this one.
I thought you were
I did
ambidextrous.
notice.
Did you say like?
He already said this is his artistic hand.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the ukulele disaster.
Thank you. Yep.
You're just
Exactly.
crushing the neck the whole time. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, and that is a true thing though. Like, you know, some of my stuff that I have drawn for some people, like, I did have a dad and his son come back just not too long ago up at another show that I did in August here, the beginning. And he's like, man, I love your work. My son loves your work. I brought it home and my wife was like, why does she have such large stuff like that? Huge tracts of land. The character doesn't have that. And I'm like, well,
I do now.
right. I'm like, well, you know,
Artist interpretation.
Yep.
Did she come back and say, draw me like your French girl?
Right. No. So he brought his daughter this time around, and I'm not trying to embarrass them at all.
No.
They are awesome, and they absolutely love what I do, you know. And so it was just it was very flattering that he did, you know, bring that up to me and was like, oh yeah, you know, my wife, she does love your work. She's just like, this character doesn't look like the character it is in the show.
Which
and
character was it?
So this is Furin. And
sure.
Yeah. So my Furin is a little bit more thicker than the regular drawn Furin. But my thoughts on that was like, in the cartoon, she looks like a lolly. She's very slender and things. And then typically I don't try to draw like little kid characters, you know, for the most part, type of thing. I'm not trying to sexualize a character at the end of the day either, you know, but, you know, there's a target audience sometimes. And sometimes those are the folks that do buy the stuff that I'm putting out to a degree, you know? So, but it just really depends at the end of the day on, you know, where we're going with and such. And I've, for the new black and white stuff, a lot of that is actually like kept in check on purpose, you know, because while it's nice also, but you know, to kind of show that off, you never know with the politics of other shows and whatnot, conventions that you're trying to get into. Yes, they say, hey, 18 plus stuff is okay with us as long as it's like covered up and whatnot. But you don't know if certain shows like, well, this guy just normally kind of does a lot of that stuff. We don't know if we want him here because we might be more, you know, kid friendly show and things, you know, so totally 100% understandable at the end of the day.
For sure.
So
I'll say you do female characters justice. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I'll show some pictures.
Yeah.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Pictures.
That's just because of Kelly, this gal that I met many years ago when I was working at Snyder's Drug Store. And she was a cashier there. And we were just, she loved to draw too. And she mostly drew women.
Okay.
I said, Kelly, why do you draw women so much, you know, versus men? And she goes, because I find women aesthetically pleasing.
It's true.
And I was like, aesthetically pleasing?
Right.
What is this word? I've never heard anity say this before in my life.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just one of those cool moments. And I'm like, okay. Neato.
The word.
Right. Yeah. You know, and that just kind of stuck with me over time and just kind of went with it, you know. And
now I think there needs to be a trip hop band called Anesthetically Pleasing.
Nice. Yeah. The one thing I always loved, especially about like the visual arts and everything, and is that how much you can do with just one piece. Because like when you have this a photo or a painting or whatever, you take it all in one instant. Like it's just you see it and you have a thought and everything. With like movies or even music, you had to have this entirety of moments to happen to understand something. You know, maybe with video it's a little less, but like with again with an image, it's so instantaneous. You know what you're going to feel when you see an image. With music, it's like, again, there's this rise and fall and there's all this stuff that happens with it. But man, like that's why I admire what you do, because it's not just about putting ink to a page. It's not just about like drawing something. It's about how you choose to draw that, or like the perspective or the look that they're giving, or like all these things that come together to make that image is all thought about. Like it's all, at least I'm sure you think about this when you're doing this, but that's why I want to give you credit for everything you do, because I wish I could do with you. Cause if I could, I'd be doing comic books all day. Like, you know,
as I do story, because it's a story. A picture tells 1,000 words.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, that's 1,000-word story.
Yeah, right
May
there.
I ask a question with that?
Yeah.
How do you decide which poses to give each character?
Great question. And I was going to exactly answer that just without it.
So I got all these Playboys. And
right. Yeah. Hey, now shout out to my Uncle Craig, who showed me the first Playboy of Vanna White when she posed for Playboy. She did. She
Attaboy,
did.
Craig.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, we went ice fishing and then we were cooling off. And he's like, here you go. And I'm like, oh, dude, cool. Vanna White. How about that?
Was she showing a letter?
Yeah.
You know, there was
Letter
probably
V.
one of
It was
the
a
photos.
vowel.
Nice.
Or Y.
Right, yeah.
Or what? Yeah.
Yeah.
The one.
So I would be more than happy to teach you anything that you
Sure.
would like. And I stand on this till the rest of my life is I will never gatekeep what I do because there's no fun in that. I know
Sure.
what it's like to look up to people and you're like, oh man, can you show me how to do this? It'd be awesome. And they're like, no, you got to buy my book or whatever, you know.
You
We
want to tell
talked
me the
about earlier.
3-day course or whatever.
Right, yeah, no,
When you're not competing with people, the only gatekeeper is your time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a fantastic point when you stop caring about what other people think and you compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
You know, and the moment I did that, life has just been completely different how I approach things. So with art and these things that I do is I have these little notepads at home that I just like Post-it notes.
Mhm.
So I take those and that is, then I draw a square inside a rectangle.
Okay.
So if you look at my art, they're always 11 by 17 pieces.
Yes.
I've now framed a piece in there. So I'm thinking, okay, here's the borders of the image. And then I begin to think about the character.
Yeah.
The character is in a limited space on purpose. How is the character going to break out of it? Because I want my art to look 3-dimensional.
Okay.
So there's a trick you can do with that. Akira Toriyama, the Dragon Ball gentleman, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He did all his cover books like that, where he would break his characters out of the borders. He purposely put them in.
Sure.
It gives it this awesome dimensional look. Have you ever been to the movies and they have the black movie bars?
Yep.
If a character is outside of that bar, it gives it a 3-dimensional
Right.
look, especially when they do with the 3D movies and they put on the glasses. They're out of that framing.
Yeah.
So you purposely do that to give that illusion of, oh man, that's cool. There's a level of depth and 3D here. So that's what I begin to do with all my pieces for the most part is,
Sure.
okay, here's Samus. What do I want? Okay, well, I'm going to have her kneeling, looking up, and I'm going to put the gun out of the frame and she's locked into the rest of it. So the gun is the dynamic part.
Sure.
That's what draws you in. And then you can kind of look at the entire thing. Looking at things in 3D also helps a huge amount. I used to dabble in like 3D Studio Max and
Sure.
Maya and
Me
stuff
too,
growing
actually.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, it is wonderful programs. And so if you could get a figure in there and just put a camera in the scene and then rotate different things, you're like, oh, this would
Yeah.
be sick.
Yeah.
You know, because you've got a screen that it's locked into. And so that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Is that, can I do a really cool pose that they're breaking the scene? They're trying to get out of the box, but it adds this cool dimensional twist to it.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach a good majority of it. You know, at the end of the day, is just a very basic formula of going from there, because I wouldn't do that if I could work with companies that do lenticular printing. That 3D
Oh, sure.
stuff.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
You look one way and it swaps to an image,
Yeah,
and you
it's,
go back another way, it
Yeah.
goes to another.
Lenticular. I love that.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Yeah, no, it is a really cool thing. There's a company out in Chanhassen, I believe, that they do that printing. They work with Disney and a
isn't
bunch
it,
of other stuff.
It's called, because my aunt used to work for them. And they do like cards and like gift
Yes,
cards.
they
and
do.
stuff like that.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yeah.
I can't remember their name.
It's
but
like Advantage.
yeah,
or
it could
something
be
like that,
Advantage.
like something like
Yeah,
that.
could be.
Maybe put a little graphic on the screen. and
Right.
post it.
Yeah.
This
No.
is them.
By the way, shout outs to those folks. They were really nice. I just showed up one morning off the street. No, I literally just got up, put on a nice little like suit, and I went up there and I'm like, hey, this is me. This is the stuff that I would like to do.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys are the only people out here in Minnesota that do
Yep.
lenticular printing. And the woman at the counter was like, oh, there's a crazy boy here. Hang on one second. And I sit down.
911.
Yeah, right. And then this really awesome guy comes in and he's like, hey, I heard you're interested in what we do here.
Mhm.
I'm like, yes. It's like, follow me. So they
Nice.
take me on this tour
And show you the
of the area.
factory.
They showed me all the stuff that they do and what they do. And he's like, yeah, so we don't allow peasants in here. But I just wanted to show you what it is we
and then
do.
through you and the
Wow.
garbage
Yeah,
compactor.
no.
Yeah.
No, it just basically came down to one of those things where it's an unfortunate event where, as they say, a few bad apples can spoil the tree. And that's exactly what happened to those
Yeah.
folks, is that they took a chance on so many people who were like, oh yeah, no, we'll group up with some other people to cover the cost of all this stuff so that we can print in bulk. Cause I know that's what you guys do. They gave these people opportunities, and these folks unfortunately kind of screwed them over, you know? And so it's just like, sorry, bro, you know, it almost seems like they wanted to do it, but it's like, we've taken so many chances with other people. We don't know what you might do, you know. And I'm like, I understand completely, but man, they made me feel great. They gave me some stuff for the road, these other holographic stuff. You know, they were awesome, truly awesome people. You know, and but yeah, being able to find somebody that does lenticular locally would be amazing.
Nice.
Absolutely amazing.
Because I know you work with Matt from Speed Print.
Yes.
I just actually visited him the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. He's
nice.
printing some stuff that we have for another event. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt's great. By the way, happy belated birthday, Matt. It was just on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Matt.
So
I do have one more question before we jump into your chance to tell us where people can find you.
Absolutely.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
So growing
right answer, by the way.
Stop it.
Oh, sure.
Let the man speak.
No. If
he knows it's the one he's going to get.
Right.
Of course.
Well, so if I'm real, I'm probably betting between like Michelangelo or Raphael. Those are the two people that I would say encompasses his character and things like that.
He's pretty good.
You know, but for me, I would say growing up, it has always been Leonardo.
Yeah. I had a feeling that
At the end of the
Leonardo
day,
too.
yeah, just because like I am always captivated by leadership characters and characters that actually fail.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I really, really love. And Optimus Prime failed. Luke Skywalker failed.
Yeah.
Leonardo failed. And a bunch of other people that I have looked up to in my childhood.
Sure.
These are the people that encompass who I am is really those guys. They're not overpowered. They're not, you know, just this like, oh yeah, you are the chosen one and it's going to happen and you're going to make the world the best thing. They have moments of faulting. They have bent the knee to a certain extent, but they always keep their morals and value, and they believe in something that is greater than themselves, because they know that there are greater things than just themselves. And, you know, I kind of blindly grew up like that, just being like, man, I want to do that. It's crazy that a robot makes me feel more than like an actual human being. Yeah, except for Jim Henson. Big shout out to Jim. No, I wanted to be a puppeteer growing up.
See, like we got to some more conversations.
Back to your question there.
Yeah.
Which question?
About like, have you ever tried other media?
Oh, sure. Have you made puppets?
Yes, I made puppets with grocery bags growing up. Yeah, just put
googly eyes,
on them. Exactly.
Yep. Grocery bag theme.
Right. Yeah.
It's easily accessible.
You know, I keep stressing that I'm poor. I truly do mean that. I am a poor individual. I look around and just kind of see it there, and you're like, man, I could do something with this.
Sure.
You know, it's just going to go get recycled or something after, you know, so why not maybe turn it into something of value?
Yeah.
You know,
so you're at the grocerybagguru.com.
Right.
That's actually his shop.
It's one of my other shops. No, that's pretty sweet. Could put it up on Etsy, you know.
Yeah.
and eBay.
Sure,
Right.
Or DoorDash.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? What are you working on now? What things are upcoming for you? You know?
Yeah. So right now I am working on a 3-piece banger set of Misty, Brock, and Ash from Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a piece where you put it together and they all interlink to make a larger piece.
Oh, wow.
So I want to buy it.
First print we need it.
Right. So I did bring the Misty so you could kind of take a look at it, like just how it looks and whatnot. So you guys get to see the very first sort of, for the most part. There was a small preview on Instagram, but I don't think a lot of people, because it was on the story.
Can we break it here?
Huh?
Was
Can
it
we break it here?
Yeah, no, I brought it here. You can break it here. I brought it here for that moment.
Thank you.
It is indeed. Yep.
Okay, I saw it.
Yes. Yep.
It's special.
Yeah. So, no, I brought a few of those. But I'm just preparing for, unfortunately, not unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's later in a couple of months, because I don't have anything from now till mid-September.
Okay.
So I will be at a couple different shows in that time. And so just looking at the cast of people that are coming, stuff that I really enjoy as well, that are going to be there. So I was like, oh yeah, let's get a few other things in my ink style, which a lot of people have been very receptive.
Sure.
They've really liked what they've seen and such. Now, especially when I'm adding just a splash of color for a few of the new ones and stuff, now that I've talked with Matt, what we can do. So where you can find me is typically at home. So I love to dance, but I haven't found anybody to go out dancing with in a while. So I've just kind of hung out at home.
If you ever need karaoke, you can go with him.
I go,
nice.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've heard of
wow.
I go like, yeah.
What kind of dancing?
It's just free form dancing to like new wave type stuff, 80s, 90s.
Oh, sick.
There's a little bit like different kinds of music. There's some, some old Prince and some like 90s hip hop and
Very nice.
It's mostly like new wave, 80s,
Sure.
90s, and then some 2000s and stuff too.
Oh, that's awesome.
There you
go.
That's awesome. I love to dance. It's always been an addiction, especially when you're going to dance places on purpose to challenge other dancers and things like that.
That is not something I.
Growing up with my buddy, that's what we did. We danced from Wednesday till Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy because there was always somewhere around here to go dancing. There was like Waterworks and then Stargate and some places downtown that we used to go, and like Tropics and things
I've heard
like
the
that.
Tropics.
Yeah.
I've heard not the other two.
And
though.
then First Ave
Sure.
was another place. So
I go to an event called Transmission. Shout out to Jake. And he often does First Ave on New Year's Eve.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Man, I love the Ave. It's definitely changed from since I was there. But yeah, Sunday nights, they had like Sunday rave night. And so all the ravers would hang out on the main dance floor.
Yeah.
And then the break dancers would be behind the stage, the curtain that they would, they had that drop down projector screen. Okay. Yeah. So they had the techno stuff going on there. The break dancers, everybody was in the back. So used to go back there and just kind of learn how to do that stuff with those guys and just have a good time.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So, but truly, you can find me on Instagram at the art of CK. It's very, very all one word.
We'll put your links there too. So,
well, and you said you're doing something in a couple of months. This might air in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So, like maybe we can if you've got more detail you're waiting on, maybe we'll put that in the link and everything.
Sure, whatever event.
It's a ways away. So. Either way, whichever you guys do.
I mean, we're very backed up and very popular. So
I wouldn't doubt it.
We tend to stagger our guest shows.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Right. No, I mean, it's all, I do love seeing the final product and doing this together because we are doing something I think meaningful in that we're just getting people together and just talking about stuff. And we always joked about like, we should do this more because we then get together because otherwise we get stuck in our schedules and we don't get together and it's such a bad thing. But now, what a better reason to get together with people to learn about them, to share this art and everything. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah, no.
You still owe me one thing though.
Yeah, no. I absolutely. So, how much is that again?
No, I was gonna say you stole me an Optimus Prime.
No, I know. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I think I can give you something here. Let's see.
Hush.
All right.
Already.
All right. People of Earth, my name is Optimus Prime. I have traveled far from a place called Cybertron. We have been here amongst you, watching each and every one of you continue to grow and showcase what it is truly meaningful to be a human. Please continue to look after one another, showcase love and affection for those that are unable to do so at this time. We are here. We are watching.
Bravo.
Hey, thank you, man.
That was beautiful. I didn't see that. Whatever you say.
God damn it.
If you haven't seen the new series, by the way, it's awesome.
I heard it was pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's how you do a reboot. Is what they're saying for the King of the Hills.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Because it's not even a reboot. It's season 14.
Yes. It is.
It is literally
It is just a continuation.
I imagine the dialogue got better.
Yes, it did. Yes. And it's so cool because now you've got Hank dealing with what's happened during COVID, and now. Yep.
Huh.
I won't spoil. I haven't seen
Okay.
it, but I know some of the details.
Is it Hank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Hank?
Hank Hill.
Oh,
Didn't you just?
I thought you were talking about the Transformers.
No, didn't you
Hank
just
Former?
I did Hank Hill, and he was like, "Oh, they're doing the new one."
Oh, yeah, no,
I
that's-
thought you went back to the Transformers.
no,
And I'm
Hank
like,
is a
oh,
Tonka
cool.
truck.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, no,
I did know that was being rebooted.
Okay, yeah.
We are Bards and Balladeers. This is Rio. I'm Kate. This is Chris, our guest, and Oscar.
Yes. Thanks, guys. For
Thank
stopping
you.
by.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll see ya.
Bye.
Next time.